Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 235, season 10. Today's date is July 11th, 2023, and welcome to the show. I'm back. So I do have a podcast episode on this Tuesday. I managed to get it in. On today's program, I'm going to talk about my memories of beer can collections from the 1970s. This was suggested by somebody. Someone sent me an email and told me, why don't you talk about this? And I said, okay. I'm sure it's still some people are still doing this, but there was a big craze back then in those days when I was a kid. Also, I will talk about sportscaster Bruce Roberts, who worked at WBBM TV Channel 2 in Chicago. I'll talk about his biography and my memories of watching him. But right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Charlie Perfume from Revlon. And here's a commercial from the 1970s. And it has that catchy tune that a lot of people remembered and still do. And so do I. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show. Thank you, everyone.
There's a fragrance that's here today, and they call it Charlie. A different fragrance that thinks your way, yeah, they call it Charlie. Kinda young, kinda now, Charlie. Kinda free, kinda wow, Charlie. Kinda fragrance that's gonna stay, and it's here now, Charlie.
Charlie by Revlon, a most original fragrance.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay, things people love.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Charlie Perfume from Revlon with that catchy tune. You know, there's a fragrance that's here today. They call it Charlie. I saw this on WGN Morning News the other day, and Robin Baumgarten's singing and dancing. It's hilarious. Oh, why not? Why don't I throw in the commercial in honor of her? And so let me give you a little history of this. Charlie was invented by Charles Revson, and he was a businessman, and he founded Revlon. That's where they got the name. I never knew this. I did not know this. No, and so that was released in 1973, and everyone remembers the commercials, and the most famous commercial of all was with model Shelley Hack. Remember her? And the man that's singing is Bobby Short. He's playing the piano. We all remember Shelley Hack. Later on, she became Tiffany Wells on the TV series Charlie's Angels. She replaced Kate Jackson for 1 year. You know, I thought she was fine, but a lot of people are fickle, and the ratings didn't go well, so she was replaced by Tanya Roberts at the last season. So, yeah, Shelley Hack was in the fourth season. So, unfortunately, Tanya Roberts passed away a few years ago. Shelley's still with us. I haven't seen her lately. I presume she's still acting. She was in another TV show in the 80s called Jack and Mike. It was like a yuppie show. I remember that. As for Charlie, the fragrance, it's still around. It's been changed over the years, and it's still available. You could buy it department stores, drugstores, Amazon, Target, Walmart. You'll find it, and so it's and they were like, for example, spin-off fragrances with different colors, like that blue, red, white, white musk, like that, and that was later on. So, but a lot of people still remember the original Charlie perfume. I remember that, and the commercial. Great, great product from the 70s. Great jingle from that era too. Okay, all right. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about my memories of beer can collections in the 1970s, and I will also talk about Bruce Roberts. That's the sportscaster from WBBM TV Channel 2 in Chicago. Before I get started, I'll mention one thing. This month's going to be busy for me going to the doctors. Like that. This Friday, I'll probably go for my blood work and get ready to go to my urologist. I think I'm going next Wednesday. Then I'm going to my regular doctor on the 25th. And then on the end of the month, I'm going to my endocrinologist for the first time. Scary. I hope everything's fine. And I did attend the St. Spiridon Greek Orthodox Church Greek Festival this past weekend. I went Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was quiet. Didn't eat anything. I got leukomavis, so I posted that on social media. But I did my walking. I did exercise, so that's good. As for Sunday, oh, no. That's a different story. It was packed. Long line to the food. I have never seen anything like that in my life. I have been going to this place for years, ever since I was a kid. This is the first time. I have a theory why it was like that. I guess it was word of mouth, but I bought some souvlaki, shish kebab. I met up with an old friend of mine from school, and we ate together, and then we walked around, met some people. It was wonderful, and the weather's gorgeous. It really was. It was nice. I had a good time. I'm glad it became. I'm certain it became very successful. As for other Greek festivals that I will attend, we'll see. Maybe one in the end of the month, but I know I'll go to my own church, St. Constantine and Helen, in August, and that's a biggie. So I know, because I went to school there. I attend church there. I know a lot of people there, and the food is excellent, and it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it, but it's a month away. Okay, so here we go. As for my memories of beer can collections of the 1970s, I mentioned this in the beginning of the program. Somebody emailed me and says, "Why don't you talk about something like this?" It's not just Chicago; it's like everywhere, but this is a Chicago memory for me, because when I was growing up in the Ashburn neighborhood in the 1970s, I moved there in 1974. I visited my neighbors' houses, the kids around the neighborhood, and I would go down to the basement, and I would see on display empty beer cans, all kinds of, and I go, "What is this? I've never seen this before." I don't know how this got started. I have no clue. I guess by word of mouth, or something. Maybe they mentioned this on television or anything like that, or they went to a bar and they started collecting beer cans, and then the kids, us kids, and back then did that. We would find empty beer cans, in the garbage, or We were outside. I don't know if I did. I never did this, but they were rough. They would just go through the dumpsters or something like that, or trash cans, and then they bring them home and clean them and all that. But it's the different kinds of beers, the brands, the colors. It's so pretty, and I'll give you a few examples of what kind of beer cans they collected. And I posted a photo yesterday. People are still talking about it. And like, for example, they would talk about Schlitz. They would talk about Old Milwaukee, Ham's beer, Black Label, also Schlitz Light, forgot it, Meisterbrau, Old Style. A lot of people were complaining, saying, "Where is Old Style? Where is it?" Well, if you want to find pictures of that, go on the internet. You'll find them. What else? Lowenbrau, Olympia Beer, Special Export. The first cans of light beer, Schaefer, Falstaff. Oh, it's incredible. It really is. And there was red, white, and blue beer. I can go on. There was Champagne. I remember that. I never heard of it. No, Colt 45. They had that. Schmitz Malt Liquor Beer. Coors Beer. Busch Beer. Let's see what else. I'm forgetting about it. One. Oh, old Chicago. Remember that one? And there was a couple of people mentioned called Old Frothing Slosh, which I never heard of this. I never saw it in Chicago. Didn't pay attention. Some people mentioned that for some reason. Let's see what else. There was weird. Here's a weird one called Bean and Bacon Days beer. They made that in Wisconsin. Like that. Also, there were well-known beers that we still have today, like Miller Beer, Miller Lite, Miller Draft. It is. There was also Stroh's. There was also Michelob, Rolling Rock, Coors. I think I mentioned that. Although, excuse me. So you have the light beers and the regular beers. Excuse me. I'm talking too much. I can go on and on. They also collected not just domestic beers, also imported beers. There was Schlitz Tall Boys, the tall boy ones and all that. And it's amazing like that. I didn't see any Greek beers, not from Greece, like Fix. That was the only one that I still drink this. I drank this on Saturday night at the picnic. I ordered that. It's still good. That's the only beer I drink. I seldom drink at all. But they have new ones, the Alpha, and I think Mythos. I think that's the other one. All right, try those. But the list goes on and on and on, and that was a big craze back then. But after that, when I grew up and went to college, I didn't see much. Oh, there was also Natural Light. You remember that? Natural Light beer. And Drury's. Remember that? Yeah. Someone asked me, where is Drury's? Where is that beer? I can't find a photo with all of them. That's a big task for me to do that. So I did the best I could. Also, someone mentioned Heritage House from Dominic's. Even 7-Eleven had their own beer. Isn't that something? Or A&P had their own beer. They did. I forgot the name of it. So also Near Beer. Remember that? Yeah, those. So it was amazing. Also, and of course, the most famous one of all was Billy Beer. It was made by President Jimmy Carter's brother. And that was a very unusual product, but I never had it. But I haven't heard from people who had tasted it. But this was like, 45 years ago, when Jimmy Carter was president back then. So I think they're collector items. They really are, and if they're good condition, But I used to see these beer can collections in other people's houses, and I think I saw one. This was a friend of my brother's. He lived in Burbank, Illinois. He had about maybe 100 stacked up in a shelf, and it was the pretty colors and the brands, and sometimes I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I really couldn't, and it was great. The first time I had beer was in Greece. We went in 1979. Around this time, uh, we were staying at my uncle's house, and we went out to dinner. We had shish kebab, souvlaki, and back then it wasn't like today, because I tried the beer, and it was called Henninger. I think it was from Germany, and also Heineken. I just thought of that one too. And I tried that beer. It was okay, but I was with my uncle, so it was okay. My mom was a little worried, but that's okay. I didn't get drunk or anything. I just had like a little bit like that. It was fine, But I was about 15 years old. I did sneak off when I was in Bogan High School. I did sneak off to have a couple, like that. It was fine, but I didn't drink much, not really. And as time went on, maybe I have one for dinner or meet up with friends. I'm not crazy about it. I'll have once in a while, but I don't know. The, the only beer I drink is like from Greece, the fixed beer. I like that a lot. I really do. I don't know. I don't care for Budweiser or Miller, Miller Lite. I don't know. It's just me. Okay. Anyway, so that's it for the memories of beer can collections in the 1970s. Right now, I'm going to talk about sportscaster Bruce Roberts. And I totally forgot about him, because he did the sports for a long, long time, way back, almost when the TV station was founded. But it wasn't called WBBM. It was called WBKB, Channel 4. And it wasn't on Channel 2. It was on it was on Channel 4. Not on Channel 2. I explained that many times about that. And there was something I never knew about him. He used to host a kiddie show. Yeah, he was a host of a kiddie show. And let's see, it was it was called Texas Bruce Roberts. And he played a cowboy, So how did I know? Who knew? Like that. So I wish I'd seen a clip of that. It'd be interesting. But he was involved with the sports. He was born in Chicago. He went to South Shore High School on the south side. At 76th Street and Constance Avenue. Right near where my mom stayed when she came to America. She stayed with my dad's aunt. She lived right there, right about a block away. And he worked first. He worked in Buffalo, New York, and then he came back, and he enrolled in the University of Michigan. His real name was Bruce Rogetz. That was his real name, like that. And let's see what else. So he did the sports. He was also a sports director for that. And first he worked in Michigan. He worked in Ann Arbor. He was sports director and all that. And he hosted the CBS Pro Football Report and did network coverage of tennis and golf. I remember that. I really do remember that. So he was, whenever you turn on Channel 2 and you want to watch the sports, there he was, and sometimes he was with Johnny Morris. Remember him? Thank God he's still alive, like that. So right now I'm going to play a segment of him doing the sports, and this is from 1974. So this is courtesy of the Museum of Classic Chicago Television, Fuzzy Memories.tv by Rick Klein. There's a clip of him, and in the beginning of the clip, it's a news anchor, Bob Wallace, if you remember him. And so this clip is about 5 minutes long. So if you want to skip it, that's up to you. If you want to listen to him, that's fine, because it's nice to go back and listen to Bruce Roberts speak. Okay. So here's a clip from 1974 from WBM TV, Channel 2 in Chicago, with Bruce Roberts doing the sports report. Okay, so sit back and relax, everyone. Thank you.
In sports tonight, there is probably really only one story that's on the minds of all sports fans, and that is the Super Bowl. Bruce Roberts, who do you like tomorrow?
I don't like the Jets. Who you like? I stick to my guns. I think the Vikings will win it by 7. Incidentally, on the subject of pro football, O.J. signed a new contract with Buffalo today. The new pact, 5 years, calls for a cool $1 million. In college bowl action, the North rallied to win the Senior Bowl, and through the courtesy of NBC Sports, let's look at some of the action, shall we? Early in the first quarter, South's ball at their own 31. Danny White had his pass tipped. It was intercepted by Matt Blair at the 42, and the North took over at the South 30. They couldn't move it much further, so Rich Sanger proceeded to kick this 30-yard field goal to make it North 3, South nothing. That was the score late in the first quarter. South's ball at their own 45. Wilbur Jackson's fumble was recovered by the North at the 46. On the first play after the recovery, Mike Barilla threw one complete to Heisman Trophy winner John Capoletti, who went out at the 28. Then Capoletti on a little solo job. The sweep right, number 22, got 12 more to the South 16-yard line. From there, Barilla to Capoletti for 15, and the South had moved to the North 1-yard line. Where it was Bo Mathers who took it in, the extra point was blocked. It was 9-0 North. The South took the ensuing kickoff and drove to the North 34, where White pitched one to Woody Green, who took it down to the 16. The North held, so Greg Gant kicked his 27-yarder. It was 9-3 North at halftime. Early in the third quarter, the South in punt formation at the North 36. A little fake here. The short man Jackson ended up with it. He also got a first down at the North 30. But Ralph Brock quickly went to the pass. Fine catch by Harvey McGee to the North 8. But all that resulted in was this 35-yard field goal by Gant. It was North 9, South 6. A bit later in the fourth quarter, the South driving again. Wilbur Jackson provided all the heroics. This, a 53-yard ramble. The South had a golden opportunity at the North 2. Then they took the lead on this option pitch to Woody Green. It was 13-9. With a little over a minute left in the game, the North started the drive that won it. David Jane, Kansas, the quarterback. From the South 46, he threw to Gary Heyman out at the 33. Then it was the toss to Capoletti, who finally went down to the South 18-yard line, followed by the winning touchdown. Jane spotted Lynn Swan, and the North had pulled it out of the fire. The final North 16, the South 13. A big NHL contest this afternoon. First place Boston lost to second place Montreal. And again, we thank NBC Sports for the following highlights. From the face-off at 5:35 of the first period, Yvon Lambert was there to rebound the point slapper. Canadians led 1-0. It became 2-0 Montreal when Cournoyer from the back of the net centered to Jacques Lemaire. Watch number 27, Frank Mahovlich, at 13:04 of the period. Frank made it Montreal 3, Boston 0. But the Bruins came right back to score their first goal. Number 10, the left of your screen, Carol Vadnais slap shot off the power play, ended the first period. The Canadiens 3 and Boston 1. The Bruins narrowed it early in the second period. Ken Hodge tipping in this Phil Esposito shot, 3-2. But the Canadiens retaliated on a power play slap shot by Lemaire, number 25, his second goal of the game. And the second period ended. The Montreal Canadiens 4, over the shoulder, the Boston Bruins 2. Frank Mahovlich got his second goal early in the third period. Look at the wide open net. It was 5-2 Canadiens. It became 6-2 on a typical bit of Montreal sharp passing. Chuck Lefley ended up scoring the goal. Just beautiful. At 12:44 of the third period, Peter Mahavlich rebounded his brother's shot. The score mounted to 7-2. And the final goal of the game, Wayne Cashman scoring for the losers, but it wasn't enough as Boston drops its first at home in 22 games. Montreal 7, the Bruins 3. Turning to college basketball, fourth-ranked North Carolina State, easy over Clemson. In Big Ten play, Purdue big over Illinois. The Spartans beat Ohio State. Michigan just got by Minnesota. Second-ranked Notre Dame had no problem, and fifth-ranked North Carolina had enough to get by Virginia. We have a couple of late finals. The big one, Indiana edged Wisconsin 52-51, Northwestern 87, Iowa 67. In high school basketball, the Illinois High School Association suspension of Rock Island High School was rescinded, and its place an additional 1 year's probation. In tennis, the U.S. won today's doubles match with Colombia. They still trail in their Davis Cup competition 2-1. And in golf, Johnny Miller and Miller Barber tied for the late third-round lead in the Phoenix Open. Have more to say on that Super Bowl tonight, Robert.
Oh, I kind of like the Dolphins. Maybe we'll get a little side bet going here.
You got it.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the sports report from Bruce Roberts, who worked at BBM TV, Channel 2 in Chicago. He worked all the way up to the end, and unfortunately, he suffered a heart attack at the station, and they tried to revive him, and they took him to the hospital, but he died later on. He passed away on September 27, 1981. So, so he had a wife and four children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. So that's a shame, because I liked him. I really did. He was 54 at the time. He was young, very young, but he seemed so healthy. Well, you never know. And so anyway, so so that's a shame, But I don't know if a lot of people remembered him. I'm talking about today. I'm not sure, but I did. I remembered him very well. Because back then on Channel 2 in the 70s, you had the classic duo Bill Curtis and Walter Jacobson. Also, who did the weather was John Coughlin. And I think Harry Volkman was there around that time. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But someone asked me, can you do a podcast episode about that? Because Bill Curtis and Walter Jacobson started around this year, about 50 years ago. And I said, yeah, someday I will. I'll talk about that. Yeah, that'd be a very interesting topic. Fortunately, those guys are still alive, so that's good. And they seem very friendly, like that. So, as for the family of Bruce Roberts, I hope they're still around. I'm sure they are. So, this is a podcast tribute episode to him. If they're listening or they know about it. I hope they're happy about this. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I said. I talk about beer can collecting in the 1970s. And also Sportscaster Bruce Roberts from WBBM TV, Channel 2 in Chicago. I will do another podcast episode probably this weekend. Probably Saturday or Sunday. And this podcast episode will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. You can also, please subscribe if you tap on those apps. You get the latest episode. Also, it's on my YouTube channel, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Please subscribe there, and you'll get a notification where the new episode is ready to listen. Also, it'll be posted on my social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, the new Threads. The new social media, Threads. I heard it's still growing. It's still growing. Oh my God. Like that. It's Facebook's version of Twitter. Or Instagram, whatever it is. Okay. So it should be ready this afternoon. All right. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I had a wonderful time talking to you. So here's bye-bye for me, and here's Ray Rayner with a little traveling music saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone. So long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.